with us, and we bring you some fantastic news this morning. For me, it's a brighter news to end my day. The Nigerian Society of Engineers has elected Margaret Oguntala as the new president of the association, and I think one of the great outings of this is that, according to the statement, she is the first female president of the association in a 65-year existence.
And
I could put a wow to that.
It's no surprise that you are excited, being the gender advocate that you are.
It's great to have you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And like you said earlier when we were off air, she's beautiful too.
Absolutely.
Beauty and brains.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
But we face quite a lot of serious issues as a nation.
Yeah.
And the Nigerian Society of Engineers in the past, I recall, has challenged government over time that Nigerian engineers should be engaged a lot more in the construction of all kinds of construction work, especially civil and mechanical. And I'm referring specifically to the cases of building collapse all across the country.
Yeah. And even road collapse.
Road collapse, building collapse all across the country. We're struggling with maintaining railways and all of those things. These are things that engineers across the world handle. So I believe that's one of the issues on your table as you come in.
Yes.
How do you propose to handle that?
Well, thank you. Like you said, Nigerian engineers has engaged government at all levels and at various times on the need to involve Nigerian engineers in not just the construction, but even the design of infrastructure. And over time, we have also realized that for some reason, that's not been so. I know that in some states, the engineers are really more involved than in some other. And so, like you said, it's one of the things on my table right now. And how we intend to do that is to engage government more. Because indeed, one of our core objectives is advocacy. And that's just what we can do, because we cannot regulate as an association. However, we plan to do a lot more in that respect. You know, let them see the value of involving engineers, and then the importance of also developing the capacity of engineers, because it's only when Nigerian engineers are involved in infrastructural development of Nigeria that they would also develop the capabilities and capacity, and then get better as time goes on. And nobody can develop Nigeria for us the way we can. So it's really a very germane issue right now, and it's one of the things that I plan to tackle as much as I can.
Okay, so let's look at your administrative prowess, because you were serving as deputy president for at least 2 years, and then now you were chairman, the Ikeja branch of the NC. You know, I see a lot of your roadmap, your trajectory, your journey so far before getting to this. So you come ready and prepared for the role. Yes. What are some of your agenda, the vision that you have now that you're president?
Thank you. My focus, I have 5 focus areas really. And the first one is membership development. So I plan with my team, of course, to concentrate a lot more on developing the membership drive, you know, because right now we have just about 64,000 members. And you know how many engineers are, how many graduates we churn out of universities every year, and yet we have just 64,000. That means a lot more needs to be done in that respect. And to do that, I will also need to plan to give more value for the membership of these members. So creating value for members will mean also having plans to develop them, to give them reasons for being members, and to be able to sustain their interest in the society. And to do that, we will be doing a lot of training, retraining, upskilling of our members in their respective fields. As I'm sure you know, we have the Nigerian Society of Engineers is a very diversified association where we have various engineers from various fields, civil, mechanical, chemical that I am, and electrical, and so on. So we would, right now we have sent out a survey to get the training assessment needs.
Okay.
A kind of training needs assessment of our members, so that we'll know in what areas we can help them to develop themselves, stay abreast of the profession, and abreast of emerging trends. So then I also plan, with my team again, to do a lot of work in the area of intergovernmental relations. So, and that's the one that I spoke about earlier. So we want to engage with government a lot more. We also want to do a lot more in the area of bridging the gap between the industry and the academia. And that will mean concentrating on research and development. So we also, of course, want to do a lot more in the branding. I'm actually looking at rebirthing the Nigerian Society of Engineers for growth, advancement, and empowerment of engineering in Nigeria. And that's a lot. So a lot of concentration will be on the younger generation, the younger engineers, the future of our nation.
Because I see you have a passion in, young persons, especially the STEM area for young girls and young persons. So how are you going to build that? Is there going to be some sort of, step-down peer engagement for young persons? Yes,
there will be, and then mentorship. So we're going to have a deliberate mentee-mentor program where we'll attach mentees to mentors. Because what we have now is a huge gap between the older generation and the younger generation. And so to bring them up, to pull them up and prepare them better to take up the roles that they should take, then we'll be doing a lot more of mentorship. And then, of course, that will also mean organizing training for them, because training really is just about everything. Because they come out fresh from the university, they do not have the hands-on experience. In my time, we had opportunities for industrial training, or CWS as you call it. And there were industries where we could do that. Right now, most of the industries are moribund. So the engineering graduates that we have do not have the practical experience that they should have. So what we plan to do is to collaborate with some industries and other stakeholders to engage them, to also bridge the gap between the knowledge, the academic knowledge and technical know-how.
Town and gown.
Yes, town and gown. Thank you. So it's all part of the agenda that we have.
I was actually going to take you there, but you jumped the gun. But I think it's a beautiful thing that you are thinking in that line. Yes. But I'd like, you talked about rebranding the NSE. And if you are rebranding, are you saying that you would like the Society of Engineers in Nigeria to become not just a society of people who work in the engineering sector, but also as a very powerful bloc who can influence the development of the country? Is that what you are aiming for?
Yes, that is what I'm aiming for. It's actually one of our objectives is to act, is to be an influence group, really, for the government and for the entire nation. And to do that, we would need to do a lot, of branding and rebranding. So we want to be a powerful voice. We want to be reckoned with more in the formulation of policy. And that also means being in the face of everybody. So there will be a lot more of visibility for the Nigerian engineer. Right now, when you, recently the Nigerian Stock Exchange changed its name, but when you type NSE on your Google or Chrome or whatever, what comes out is Nigerian Stock Exchange. So we want people to recognize that the NSE is the Nigerian Society of Engineers, and we are the developers of this nation. So we want people, want to bring home, to every home, the essential, or rather the need to recognize the engineer as the builder of the nation.
All right. So there was a bit of anxiety at the interlocutory injunction, but which has been set aside by the courts on the 18th of December and clearing the path for inauguration. So congratulations on that as well.
Thank you.
But going forward, there was something you said, and I think I will quote you word for word. You said, "The journey to this office for me has been fueled by a quest to serve with a clear purpose, inspired by the unwavering support I have enjoyed from members of the association and powered by the strong conviction that service is a continuous journey, not a destination.
Yes.
Now, how is the relationship? I mean, you're the 34th president and the first female, and so there have been others before you.
33.
Yeah, 33. So how are you engaging, and how would you carry along? What will be the collaborative, spirit, as you take over this toga? Because, of course, they say out with the old, in with the new. But then, in terms of leadership, this is supposed to be continuity as well.
Yes. Thank you again. Well, over the years, I've actually developed a kind of good relationship with all of them. I actually served some of them, and I was, as far back as I joined the Nigerian Society of Engineers in 1996. And the president who was the one who inducted me, is one of these 33. So over the years, I've had not just a very good professional relationship with them, but some of them I see as my father.
Okay.
Some of them my friends, some of them my colleagues. So I plan to build on that. And as a matter of fact, on 1st of January, I called each one of them as a mark of respect.
That's a lot of calls.
That's a
Yes,
lot.
yes.
Calls.
No, okay. Some of them are gone now.
Okay.
So I called each one of them and told them, well, this is my first day in office, and I'm seeking your support. I'm calling you because I recognize you as my predecessor, and I'll be needing your support and prayer. So, and I got them to, each one of them prayed for me and also pledged their support for me and my team in the next 2 years. So I plan to engage with them as much as I can, which I've done a lot. Most of them know me very well. Like I said, I've served many of them. So they do know me, and I have a cordial relationship with each one of them.
Okay, let me take you up on something that is a bit worrisome for the whole of the nation, quackery. How do you intend to tackle that? Because everywhere you go, there are quackery. We have quack journalists.
Sure. So who is a quack, really? A quack is somebody who practices a profession for which he's not trained. So what we plan to do about that is to, I think it's about sensitization, sensitizing the public on the need to use professionals. Because, and then that would mean that if you have a job, you need to contact the Nigerian Society of Engineers. You want to employ the services of an engineer, please contact the Nigerian Society of Engineers, because we are the ones who have the database of the engineers in Nigeria. But again, I will also say this. The Nigerian Society of Engineers is not a regulatory body. So really, what we are going to be doing now, which we have always done really, but we'll concentrate a lot more on it because of this quackery issue, is to collaborate with COREN, the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, which is saddled with the responsibility of regulating engineering in all forms and its forms and ramifications. So we'll be collaborating with COREN. And that means if you come to us, if you need to engage the services of an engineer, then we would collaborate with COREN to be sure that the person is indeed registered to practice engineering in Nigeria. So I am a chemical engineer. If I take a job in civil, then I am a quack in that area. So it's not just an engineer taking up the job of an engineer. So we also need to look at specialization.
Areas of specialization.
Areas of specialization. So each person remains in this area of specialization. Of course, we also have other areas that are common to all of us, like procurement, like environment. So that's fine. But if you must take up any job in any area, then you must be specialized for that area. And that would mean the public engaging more with us so that we'll tell them. So if you come to us, for instance, we'll let you know who is our member and who is registered for you to use. And once we do that, the quacks will now be left out. And then again, COREN also has means of dealing with quacks. For instance, if there's a job, when we have some construction sites, for instance, we go there from time to time. We have the engineering, regulatory, and monitoring arm of COREN, which visits sites, construction sites, on other production sites, to ensure that those who are engaged in those services are truly engineers. And when they are not, they are sanctioned. When engineers are found wanting also in terms of delivery of their profession, I mean their jobs ethically and all of that, they are also sanctioned. So that way, we are doing our best to ensure that we get rid of quackery as much as we can.
And I think that is, just listening to her, I can now know why they call her a really worldwide.
Of course.
And mother of modern day engineering. But then let's come to the fact that you're the first female. 65 years and counting. It took a long time for them to perhaps come to this point of thinking woman, and because of your capacity, not just your gender. But how does this inspire other, because I know there is an association for women engineers, which you also belong to. How did you get, the support, the feedback, how did it come to you when you were running and aspiring for this role?
Well, I've served APWEN. I actually started with APWEN, joining APWEN in 1995. And so I served in APWEN as secretary, technical secretary, publicity secretary. So they know my capabilities. So it was not too difficult to get APWEN to support me. But then, in 2021, we were five of us contested for that position.
5 women?
No, 3 women and 2 men.
Okay.
So we had this issue of APWEN fielding 3 women. So what I had to do was to do a bit more than what the others were doing. I started my campaign, for instance, in December 2020. So we're not allowed to do open campaign, but I did a few things, a number of things really, to sensitize people, to let them know that I was the right choice. So within 1 year, I delivered technical papers, via Zoom most of the time,
Because of COVID-19.
Because of, not just that, COVID-19 helped us.
And of course,
because by
distance.
2021, distance, thank you. So I took advantage of the technology to reach people. And I did a lot of that. So APWEN, at some point, really was confused on who to support. Mm-hmm. And what we eventually did was to allow every woman, because we also felt that it was good to give everybody an opportunity. Mm-hmm. So having realized that, I also did a lot more, getting the men on my side.
Okay.
So collaboration with men.
Well, you're married to an engineer. So.
I am also married to an engineer who has his own block as well.
Okay.
So, and he brought that block to play in the election.
Well, you left me wondering now,
yes.
How did you survive in an environment that used to be male-dominated? Because when you think engineering,
you think boys.
You think about men.
Sure.
So how easy was it for you to not just be in a class of young boys studying engineering, and then practicing in a world dominated by male engineers?
I'll tell you that it's come see, come sir.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's easy, some other times, life comes with its own challenges, every aspect of life. Mm-hmm. But being in a male-dominated field, it's sometimes even exciting. Mm-hmm. So now, what happens, like when I was in school, the boys kind of pampered us. So they saw us as, they needed Special, thank you.
Because you were very few, right?
Yes, we were few. And so the boys were like, okay, so we need to take care of them. And I enjoyed that more. So when people talk about being in a class with boys and being discriminated against or things, I never experienced that. Mm. The boys in my class took care of us.
We should clap for the boys.
Yes. the boys of 81, 86 set of the University of Benin. Mm-hmm. We should really clap for them. So they really did take care of us. And then when I got into the engineering world, I also found out that what people want to see, particularly men, they want to see that you know what you are doing. You know your onion. And in the profession, you are ready. So whatever job you are given, you do, and very well. So they respect you. So, and once you are able to do that, so for a woman, really, that's all that you need to be able to survive amongst the men. Once you're able to earn the respect in terms of delivery of your of your service, okay, and you are ethical, you maintain the professional conduct of the association, of the society, and they see that you are also professional in whatever area that you find yourself. So there's no issue. So I've never really had any serious issue.
So all the barriers are down for you?
Yes, because I realized from the beginning, my father, who was my #1 cheerleader, it taught me from when I was very young to wherever you find yourself, please just make a mark, make yourself relevant, and then show that you do have the capacity for whatever job you are given at that time, and aim for the top. Because, and aiming for the top also means preparing yourself, developing yourself along the way, and getting yourself ready for whichever position you're going to find yourself. And that has helped me in life.
All right. In terms of the fact, I mean, I hear you, and one of the things I do also understand is the fact that I hear that you have some sort of mentorship, and some learning done even within the male pairs. In terms of having more, and I know that this sometimes may go back to my thinking into community development and young girls in the public schools at the lower level. How do you think STEM can be made interesting? Because a lot more times when young people think science, they get fatigued just thinking about the process. And I know you did some development academy, the Aina Oguntala Capacity Development Academy. How do you hope to bring that to bear?
Well, that's already established under APWEN, the Margaret Oguntala Academy for Development, Capacity Development Academy. So because it's already in APWEN, it's even easier for me now as the president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. So what we'll do now is to expand Maukada, as we call it, so that we can bring more younger girls, more of them, and train them. What we did with the last set of Maukada graduates was to engage, again, I believe a lot in collaboration. So we did not just put them in one classroom. We got some stakeholders to collaborate with us. So we got partners like Kenol, which gave them the platform for training in electrical and mechanical services. We also had one which trained them in plumbing, and one for metering and stuff. So the idea is to give them more hands-on training, skills that will help them to be able to become entrepreneurs, not just employees. Because entrepreneurship, we all know, is the basis, is the real basis for development of younger people, but in particular because there are no jobs anywhere now. So we want more engineers to become employers and not employees. So we're training them right from young, right from the youth, to be able to stand by themselves and do things with their hands. So that's what Maukada is about. And so what I'm going to do now is to expand it, to include boys as well. Because Maukada is for girls under APWEN. So we're looking at, the next set of people would now have some boys as well. So that will give you the picture of me being president of FNSE and not just the Association of Professional Women Engineers of Nigeria.
Okay, we've been talking about what we think you should be dealing with as the president of the FNSE. What do you think is the biggest challenge for you as you step into the new office?
The biggest challenge for me is to get government, really, to be more receptive to the idea of having engineers, take part in formulation of policies, delivery of services. Implementation is what we are usually called upon to do. But that's not even all the time. Because once you involve engineers from the beginning, then you are surer of the results. But now we just have, sometimes we are called upon, some other times we are not. For instance, the president of Nigeria, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, on 1st of January, stated I was going to set up a team for monitoring of projects. So we expect that engineers will be part of that team. And we have written to His Excellency to that effect. So that's my major problem. And recognition of engineers in general, and then the capacity development of engineers. And then it's only through engagement, in our services that we can really develop ourselves. So that's my major challenge right now.
All right. Again, there used to be this notion that engineering was more about physical strength rather than mental capability, especially when you talk about it being a man's world. But going beyond this, how do you hope to also, rebrand, shape the understanding of what the FNSE stands for, not just in Nigeria but on the global space?
Well, it's a lot of work, So what I plan to do, and like you said, it's the impression, the perception of engineering is that it's physical. And then when you see me now, you know that it's not just physical. It's also intellectual. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have more engineers talking about engineering, about how to be a good engineer, how to respect the engineering profession.
Training, yes.
Yes. So once we do that, and we're able to project the engineer in the light that he really is, and then have more impact on our communities, on the society. We want a situation where engineers will be able to provide solutions to simple things, simple challenges, or rather, and even bigger ones sometimes, given the right environment, of challenges confronting our community. So once we're able to make more impact on our community, then people will realize that really engineering is just, and it's not going to be all the time that they will see us on the bridge or climbing scaffolds and all of that. But we'll bring a lot to the table about what we have upstairs, intellectually, what the engineers can deliver.
You talked about scaffolding, just mentioned scaffolding just now. And excuse me, it reminds me of something that has been a cause of concern concerning Nigeria's education sector. Let's merge that with the talk of bringing town and gown together. Mm-hmm. As FNSE president, you talked about also collaborating with Corin. Now, looking at the curriculum that you went through between 1981 and 1986, that's a long time ago now, like almost 40 years now. Sure. When you left university. How does the curriculum compare in Nigerian tertiary institutions, engineering colleges now, with what you went through? And how can we bridge that gap? Because I hear a lot of students complain, especially on social media, that what they are taught in school now is just obsolete theory. And I use the words advisedly, obsolete theory, that before you are even taught, the lecturers already they're not up to date. So how do we bridge that gap so that Nigeria can also catch up in terms of development of the young minds that will run this country tomorrow?
Thank you. So last year, in the past 2 years, we started something which was, and that's in line with the town and gown. We started this program of having university teachers come to the industry. So creating a platform where, because the major issue, like you said, is that some of those lecturers are not up to date. And they are not in tune with what is going on in the industry. So that also means that they are not in tune with the real world. Because the real world is out here, the industries. So what we have tried to do in the past 2 years, which we'll do more about, is to create a platform where we have some of the lecturers coming to the industry and some people from the industry also going to the academia to provide services, to teach from the point of experience and practicals, to give practical training to the undergraduates. That way, we'll be able to bridge the gap more. That's one way that we have started, which we intend to also extend to a large extent. So, Corin also is also looking at rejigging the syllabus.
Okay.
So to include I don't know if you know this. Recently, well, maybe not so recent, entrepreneurship was introduced to the engineering syllabus. The engineer and society is also about training the engineers, which is a course that they take. It's also about teaching them what happens in the industry. So Corin is also looking at the syllabus In my time, there was no entrepreneurship. It was not necessary at the time. But now we have that. And a lot of other courses, a lot of more of business related courses too, to teach them how to also start their businesses and all of that. I know I've also been introduced to the syllabus of the engineering syllabus of tertiary institutions. And a lot more is being done. So I believe that with a lot more effort, with some just small effort, we'll be able to bridge the gap more. But like I said, it's important now to also bring the town and gown is what will really help. And we plan to do a lot of that.
All right, accreditation. Countries like United Kingdom would have what they call the yellow pages, where you can find just about anything. And on that page, you would see, a particular column for engineers, for dentists, for doctors. How do you hope to also look at synchronization? Because it's one thing to say we want to put it out there, but how can people access what's out there? Is there an understanding that this is an important area to look at as well?
Yeah, it's an area that already exists. With Koren, because Koren is the one, like again, I would say Koren is the one that regulates. If you go to their website, you would know. I mean, you'll be able to discern, or not just discern. You'll be able to get who is truly an engineer. We have on the website of Koren the list of registered engineers, those who have the authority to practice engineering.
Okay.
And that is renewed every year because your practicing license is expected to be renewed on January 1 of every year. So if your practicing license is not up to date, they are deemed to not be registered to practice. So you find that on the website of Koren, and I think it's Koren, www.koren.gov.ng. If you go there, you'll find the list of. Just type the name of whoever you want to search, and you will find that. And then in NSE as well, we also have a register, which we maintain, which we also update from time to time for you to find engineers.
Okay. Maybe you should be more popular.
Yes, we'll do that.
Okay.
And that's part of the rebranding.
Absolutely.
You've been. I'm looking at your profile and I see that even in university, undergrad days, you were in the student union government, and which means you've been out in public right from when you were very young. Now, it tells me that you are not a stranger to the lights, the click lights and all of that. But how do you manage office now? Life balance. Work-life balance. How do you manage that? Because it's quite a lot. Wife, mother, grandmother, and president of the NSE, CEO of BAMSAT Nigeria Limited. How do you balance all of that?
Well, I think it's something that one learns from early in life. Even in the secondary school, like you said, I'm not new to the click lights. In secondary school, I represented my school in debate, in quiz competitions, on television, and all of that. And then I took that to the university and went into politics and stuff. And so I learned early enough to prioritize. In my day, it was not common to have an engineering student going into politics.
You will be seen as unserious.
Yes, exactly. So, but that's because I was able to balance it. I knew when I needed to read. I never missed my tutorials. I never missed my lectures. And yet I was able to participate in all of these things. I was even, at some point, an editor of Campus Magazine. So that means I learned early enough to prioritize, to balance my life. So when I became a wife and mother, it wasn't too difficult. It's something that I learned early. But then more work. So at some point, I even took a back seat to when my children were young, and I couldn't take any job that would take me out of Lagos and stuff, and so balancing is just prioritizing. Is just the thing.
Knowing what's important to you.
Important at every point in time, and knowing how to combine them. And you know that we women have the natural skill for multitasking.
Okay.
So that also helps.
All right, we really must thank you very much for coming on the program this morning, and of course we learned quite a bit about, about the engineering profession in Nigeria, and congratulations to you again.
Thank you.
And we wish you very well, and we do hope to be able to look at your track record by the time you are leaving office as the president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. We've been speaking with Margaret Oguntala, who is the first female president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. She's joined us this morning to talk about issues in the engineering world as it concerns Nigeria.
Indeed, I see her. She will politic it, she would work it, and she would bring all the mandate to bear. Because I see that at Luther's.
Yeah, pity she's not in party politics.
No.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good to have you. Well, we're not leaving from here. We will be telling you that Femi is joining us to bring us an update on, of course, what's happening in Ibadan. Femi, good morning.